right on top of the mic. All right, now you're good to write things.
Each calculator is 6 inches long, so 182 divided. I know that that's heavy, but Mr. Hudson.
What rectangle?
Also over here.
Oh, just what the thing that you have?
Hey guys, you were right for
Mikey,
the
you owe me a ruler.
Yeah, I was about to say I'll buy you.
Yep.
Mr. Hudson, can I tell a dad joke into the mic?
Not right now. We need to do class.
Okay.
You are very distracted. Hey, reminder! 811 is due tomorrow. If you're upset about that, work on it right now. If you haven't picked it up, it's on the back counter. 811 and 812 are both back there. It is due tomorrow, because otherwise it would be super unfair to Math 7, because closure we did together. Right? You have no reason for your closure to not be done. 811 is due tomorrow.
Are we using different colors? Put it over there.
You guys are allowed to change colors, and apparently nobody has.
Mr. Hudson, are the stem and leaf plots still need to be done on graph paper?
I mean, I'm pretty sure the directions say get graph paper for stem and leaf and histogram.
Sorry, it just blends into the this is your practice word thing.
Cheese bonus? Wait, where's the line starting? I'm actually confused. Are you in the line?
Yeah, if you're not waiting to write measurements, let's go ahead and sit down so that we're not all just crowding up the front of the room. So if I had asked you to do this using rulers, would you have been as happy? Would you have been great, sweet, that's the best way?
No.
Or so let's talk about some opinions on the best way to do this, the best tool. I have no issue with what people are. Are you measuring in Margot's? Oh, Margot's hand. I was about to say, if the table's 11 Margot's long, that's a big table.
You have a small Margo. No.
So, opinions about measurement tool. Let's give some opinions. Lee?
Well, my favorite to use, regularly, is a yardstick.
Okay.
Because it both has inches and centimeters.
So, a meter, well, depending on the yardstick, but sure, yeah.
But I wanted to be creative, so I use this.
So, Lee decided to use, oh, that's my block thing from over there. So, Lee used rectangles because it was something they could find, pick up, and measure with. Now, if Lee goes to Home Depot to buy some lumber for the tabletop, can they purchase this lumber based on how many rectangles?
Well, no, because the rectangles isn't a specific measurement. Because I can't.
How could Lee end up purchasing off of that measurement? Yeah?
She could measure the rectangle and then multiply the amount of wood that she needs by the measurement.
We could make a conversion factor.
Oh yeah, that one's an instant.
Yeah, we could convert between rectangles to whatever we want. Absolutely. Other opinions or thoughts or comments? Liam?
Actually, the rods are good because they're one hole thick one is 75 centimeters. So,
What do you mean one whole one? Because I'm a little concerned about. Well, first off, I'm concerned about whoever's paper this is. But it's happening as soon as I try to pick it up.
I was talking about this.
But there's the. So you took it apart, so it would not change size. Because this measure, if I try to use this as my measuring tool, and I go to Home Depot and I say I need this much wood, and they're like this much or that much, I'm like right. So okay, a measuring tool the rod could work if we make sure it stays. Because could I convert this into And Liam said the conversion's nice. It's 75 centimeters. Alex?
The thing is, if you take those apart and you stand them on the ground exactly straight up,
Yeah.
they are different.
Interesting.
Because one has to fit inside the other.
All right, so Alex is saying doesn't know if these are good measurement tools because they're not exactly the same.
Same height. They're just different thickness.
Okay.
One's hollow.
Jacob's defending. He thinks it's okay.
One's hollow.
So, I think at a certain point. Oh, wait, do you want to share what you guys did, John?
Oh, we did chessboards.
So, chessboards. Can I go to Home Depot and order a certain amount of chessboards of something?
I mean, you could order a certain amount of chessboards,
So this is
but
the long side.
not chessboards of something.
So, if we want to all like agree on something, what units might we use?
Rods.
Centimeters. Because in the 80s, America signed what was known as the Treaty of the Meter, saying we're switching to metric. Guess who went back on their word? Us. And we never switched to metric because they decided it would be too much of an expense. So most things in America, regretfully, are only measured. Give me just a second. Give me just a second. Most things in America, we only have inches. And if you want to argue with me about fractions versus decimals, what do I see on my measuring tape? I don't see decimals. So we have but we can do a conversion just like anything you measured with. Rods, chessboards, Margot's hand. But I don't think we all agree on how big Margot's hand is. I don't know if we all agree on how long a rod is. But we do all agree in certain crap. I forget if it's on here or not. Maybe it's not on this one. Maybe I'm mixing up my conversion things. So the other thing that I wanted to point out about conversions and stuff like that, in your plan book, at the back of it, and this is in like every plan book, like for second semester too, I think it's different because Estes makes these. So sometimes he asks me like, hey, what do you want put in the plan book? Double check your plan book before you get rid of it. You might want to keep this page because this kind of like helps us convert things. And these are all like accurate formulas and whatever else. So Lee, go ahead and finish adding whatever you need to add. So, okay. So I think rulers are a decent thing to measure with.
Misk Ovalati, please report to the main office. Misk Ovalati to the main
You
office.
might even say that they rule. But I think there's like, why might measuring with a ruler like create some issues? Like what, Jacob?
Because if you're only using one, you may not know exactly where you left off.
Ooh, so I could line up rulers like against each other.
Yeah, but also it may take too much to keep in your head to keep like the last number you left off on to add that, and all the way until you get to that, and then you have and then if you make it all the way to the edge and one ruler doesn't totally cover it, and you have like less than whatever the maximum amount the ruler holds, then you have to add that number that's different than the number you kept adding. So then you have to take that into account.
Jacob, I couldn't have paid you to say anything better. So then we gotta like keep track of things when we measure. So guys, and I need to put these into a binder. Literally pages and pages and pages and pages of my projects and things, measurements that get written down. Like, this is this is not math class. Okay, this is but this is not math class. This is life. Right? Like you don't know what you're going to do with your life. You don't know what you're going to do to make money. And you also don't know what you're going to do as a hobby. Right? Like you're 12 or 13. You don't know where your life is headed yet. Even if you think you do, life has a funny way of surprising you. So like, guys, measurement matters. Right? And precision of measurement matters. So if I'm going to measure my house and figure out how much flooring I need to buy, am I going to use a ruler?
No.
Probably not. What am I likely going to use? A measuring tape. Now, if I am going to help out Mr. Smith and figure out how long a lap outside is, am I going to use a measuring tape?
No.
But I thought we just said this is best.
But it's not.
who's got who's got ideas or opinions? Like, let's actually do hands, Missy. Sure, or like thoughts about. So we're gonna measure the lap for Mr. Smith. Instead of you want to use a ruler instead of this? Why not the ruler? Yeah, that would be really funny to see somebody out there like.
I think something I would do is take a really long piece of string, measure it, and then put it around the thing.
So you could do indirect measurement, and you could use something else to like figure out how far you're going, and then measure that thing. Great idea, Jacob.
I have a reason why the measuring tape wouldn't work.
Okay.
While it is longer than a ruler, it too has a limit.
Which on this one is 25 feet.
I have one that I think is like 60.
Way to flex on me, man. Sorry, my measuring tape isn't as big as yours. Or we invent new measurement tools.
Why didn't I think of that thing?
So we can invent other measurement tools that smart people who know math. This is just under a foot wide, which means it is 3 feet around. Right? We'll talk about circumference and everything else as we get into our geometry stuff. But if you get real quiet, it ticks, right? So as it spins, it ticks every 3 feet, right? If it's functioning right, because this thing's kind of old. So this might be a better measurement tool, but if I'm going to go measure the table, is this the better measurement tool?
No, unless you're trying to
Probably not, right? So precision comes down to like, well, what am I trying to do? What then is the best tool? So here's something else that might blow your mind. Well, okay, I got one more thing to talk about before I talk about what might blow your mind. Aww.
I'm gonna blow up my mind.
What's wrong with rulers? Aside from that, all these are broken because people did exactly what Mikey just showed us. Rulers only bend so far, then they break. What's wrong with rulers? Well, aside from the fact that they break, Margot?
I don't know if this is the point you're trying to get at, but some rulers, they don't start exactly at zero. They have like some spin.
Most rulers don't start at 0. So let's talk about that string method that we were just like coming up with. If I then took that string and like wrapped it around my rulers, that wouldn't be right because there's an extra gap on the end. So if I actually like use the entire ruler, even though it says 30 centimeters, it's more than that, right? There's extra gaps at both ends. So, I mean, and maybe it's 32. What if I ask you to measure an algebra tile? Are you going to use a measuring tape? No. Are you going to use the wheelie thing? No. What are you probably going to use? But are we going to, like, so do we line it up at the end?
No.
Oh, we line it up at the 0. Hey, look, X is 4.
Wait, it is?
Only for here, though. Now wait a minute. Grab. How big's the 1 tile? Grab one. Grab one. Ha. 1. How big is it?
I was like, wait, mine should, because mine has like flat end.
Nope. Sorry about it. Okay. Grab the 5 tile. How long's the 5 tile? Nope. I know. Caden. Say it louder, Caden. The space between them messes with our precision
That's just messed
because to connect these, there's a tiny bit of extra space, and since there's that tiny bit of extra space every single connection, the more you connect, the more off you're going to get. Now, here's what I think might blow your mind. Anyone ever use a measuring tape? Anyone ever notice that this piece moves around? Yeah, this piece moves. And it's not because I've done that a bunch of times. Although the woodworker that I watch hypothesized how many times can you snap a tape and actually figured out how many times it would take to break. It was an interesting little experiment he did that took days. He said he got really, really bored. Anyone know why that little tab moves?
Oh, so you can be more precise.
What do you mean?
Because it blocks the edge, and when you're like on the edge of a table, yes, it measures the end of the table. But what if there's like a certain part of the table you want to measure, and there's an extra bit? Like on these tables, there's an extra bit, so you don't know where the one actually starts.
So can you see 0 on your measuring tape? No, and that's on purpose. Hold on. I don't know how many shorts he's made.
What? I have an idea.
Well, I was gonna show you a professional, so you actually believe me. Well, first off, here's and hopefully Steve doesn't sue me for showing you guys his videos. So literally, if you want to see, I might link his stuff, but he literally snapped a measuring tape over 10,000 times. But here's the video that I really care to show you, and hopefully Steve doesn't mind. If so,
So what's the deal with the hook at the end of a tape measure? Doesn't that little bit of play make for inaccurate measurement? Well, it's called an adjustable end, and it's there to ensure accurate measurements. If you notice, the first inch of the tape itself is actually a 1/16 of an inch short.
All right, anyone have a hypothesis at this point? Jacob?
Is this to like match up with the rulers to where like it has the extra gaps? Like when you pull when it hangs onto something, it pulls back so the actual very end of the tape is actually being accounted for.
But then why would it move and not just stay at that place when it's pulled out?
So you can.
Guys, I did not know this till last year,
I had it.
and I woodwork.
I lost it. I had it and I lost it.
You should, we'll wait if you want.
No.
Lee?
I was just gonna say, I got pedigree too.
Alex?
So you can actually see the one sometimes.
A little metal hook is exactly a 1/16 of an inch thick. So when you're taking an inside measurement, the hook fills in that missing 1/16 inch. When you hook it over something for an outside measurement, the hook slides out a 1/16 of an inch to make up for that gap.
That's what it was.
Dude, I said I would wait! So guys, literally, when you're measuring something, this is fixing your 0. Like a ruler, how the ruler doesn't start at 0. So if you want to measure an outside measurement, and if you are only ever gonna measure outside measurements, this wouldn't need to move, right? The end wouldn't need to move, unnecessary. But if you go to measure an inside measurement, now this tab is in the way, right? Like it's in the way of your measurement. It has thickness, so it moves to compensate for that thickness and give you an accurate measurement. Guess what dummy didn't know that and used to hold the tab against the thing I was measuring and pull it? This dummy. Because I didn't know it. Guys, we're all dumb, right? Until we get smarter and we learn the stuff we didn't know. So literally, I was messing up my measurements by holding this tab and pulling. Really, you're supposed to push it to fix that 1/16 of an inch off. Now, does a 1/16 of an inch matter? Yes. These joints are mitered 45 joints, right? Which we'll talk about when we get to complementary angles. But if these measurements aren't precise, this won't make a box, right? Like they won't line up, it won't be square. Or if one is a little bit shorter, the angle will get off and your 45-degree won't look as nice, which obviously back here they don't look quite as nice, so I didn't fill them. And you can see, like, there's a little bit of issue right there. Because I'm not mastered at woodworking yet. I'm still, like, progressing. So, yeah, I made this.
Wait, you made that?
Wait, I made this?
You just
Yes.
said you made that? Tell me you made
You
it.
should be my grandpa.
I should meet lots of people's grandpas because I love grandpas.
Did you meet the? Oh my gosh! Did you make the chess set that goes along with it?
Yeah, the pieces. Yeah.
Wait, which set
Okay.
did you make?
If we have not talked about this yet, guys, that It's just something I do. So here, let's talk about measurement and precision.
It's not bragging if it's true.
So so COVID, right? COVID boredom. So I set out to make a chessboard, right? And actually, if you measure this, it's not perfectly square because I goofed up. So I need to make another one. I've told myself like that's, it's on my list of stuff I want to build. How you actually do this is this, that was one strip of wood. You glue together strips, and then because this was my first attempt, I put a backer board to like help things stay together. You then cut the strips apart. So imagine black, white, black, white, black, white, right? You cut the strips apart and flip every other strip, and that then creates your pattern. So these are not like squares. They're squares now, but they were strips of wood that then you cut perpendicularly and flip every other strip, and then you get a chessboard. So then I decided, all right, if I'm going to have a chessboard, I could bevel a little edge. So this actually has like a bevel here, like a lip, and make like an actual box for this to set into. So when this sits on, it doesn't move anywhere. And then here's your queen, because your queen is more powerful than your king. And your rook. And like, I didn't make this idea up. That woodworker I just showed you, this was like his plans. Knight. I know they're a little, you got to use your imagination a little bit. Knight and bishop. And all the little baby pawns. So I made this with only a table saw, right? A single blade saw. I was able to make these.
I was measuring the fives, and it's actually, yes, it's not 6 fives. It's 5 7/10.
Yeah, like it's a little inaccurate, right? So yeah, as you like, measurement precision matters. Anna.
The way that you were explaining how you made the top, so I quilt just like not frequently because I'm really busy, but like that's exactly how you do quilt.
Yeah, you like make it and then cut it apart and like.
Instead of switching, then you rotate the fabric.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, and like I didn't know that about chessboards, so I looked up how to make a guys. That's like discovery days, right? Like how we're trying to get you guys to like pursue your passions and learn things, and like anything worth doing normally takes a little bit of effort and like learning. Eli,
I'm gonna make my own chessboard.
nice. Heck
Although
yeah. You told me about that. I'm just waiting for it. Yours will probably be better than mine because that was my
That's
first
because
attempt.
I assume you guys all know Raphael.
No.
Who's that again? Well, a lot of people don't actually know this, but I'm really good friends with Raphael. I hang out at his house every single week.
Oh, it's his dad. That's the woodworker.
His dad is a woodworker, and he's gonna help me make it. We're not gonna make it out of wood. We're thinking we're gonna take pieces of marble.
That'll be fun. It'll be tough, but that'll be fun.
My dad's a woodworker, so I might do that for my discovery day.
So guys, that's all we really needed to talk about today is like measurement, precision, and what to use, like the different tools. You have about 15 minutes left, and 811 is due tomorrow. So you have this time to work on 811 if you want to. Since you got me going on this, if you're curious, I do have the folder of stuff I built. So if you want to talk about measurement, precision, matter. Did I show you guys Justin's house yet?
Is that his house?
So my friend, just a friend of mine. So this is his project. A little bigger than a chessboard. He's literally built, now he contracts some of this.
He's making a house.
Right? So,
Wait, is that the design right there? Behind you?
no, that is, if you sign up for my math art class, guys, very soon you're going to be signing up for FCO. I do math art. You do not need to be an artist. I am not an artist, but I will teach you how to make stuff like this just using math. So, if you've never thought about what's behind my walls, like in your house, like what is going on, a lot of measurement precision involved in like building houses, right? Because there's a code that says how far apart stud spacing is allowed to be to support your house, like, accurately and safely. So there's a whole bunch. I got a ton of pictures of Justin's. We could talk all day about that. What else is worth showing you guys? Ooh, here's some fun angles as we get into talking about angles. So guys, dealing with measurement precision, you can download plans, right? So anytime you want to build something, you can normally search online and find plans. So here's what the plans told me to do. Cut both ends at 73 degrees, right? There's some geometry there. So laying things out. So this was for a friend of ours who does yoga classes in her backyard, and she wanted like a nicer swing stand. So then I was staining it, and I had to figure out how do I stain this and like keep it upright. So I like tied it to one of my bike hooks in the garage. And there it is. All done.
Wait, what does having to do yoga have to do with the swing stand?
Because she just wants her backyard to look nice. They do yoga in her backyard. Like she teaches yoga. Yeah. Other stuff.
What
Planter
about in my
boxes.
folder for stuff I built?
Yeah, fairy garden.
Not just say that.
So even if you're just going to make something simple, measurement precision matters. Adeline would not like this fairy garden if it did not look right.
Fairy garden?
Yeah, it's a fairy garden.
Who's that?
My friend's kid. Yeah, I may not have my own kids, but, you know, I like kids enough.
Really?
No.
Certain kids.
We're close enough to me.
Only certain kids.
Oh.
Ooh, this one was sweet. Okay, so similar.
I
This-
You have how to help. You have like how to. It's like I can't speak.
Hudson's How To.
Yeah, I watched one of those yesterday.
So if you're making a Jenga set for somebody's wedding, you probably should make a nice box for it. And yes, I have a TV in my garage. I'm one of those people. So that's a nice Jenga set actually made for a wedding. And then they asked me to make something that I had no idea how to make. So I had to figure out how to cut circles out. And actually, this was my excuse to go buy new tools. See the box joints here? That is supposed to look like that. And if I have a better picture, I'll show you why. So these fit on top of each other. And where the angles hit each other, I had to do some crafty math to figure out how to make it look really nice when it was closed. So these aren't supposed to line up flush. Like that's on purpose. So that when it fits together, it actually like locks into place. And I did what's called grain wrapping. So this was one singular board that went all the way around. So this literally was one singular board that I cut and then made sure that I was going to match the pieces up. It's just like a nicer technique to make things look cool. And so this is like a washer toss game. If you ever played, like use metal washers. Made a little bit of sawdust, just a little bit, sanding down the Jenga blocks. And then I had to get all artsy-fartsy and take them out into the yard and take nice pictures of it. Because I might sell things someday. So this is it all done, and you can see like the grain wraps around. But this angle, I had to be all like, I designed this entire thing. I did not download plans, like I made this up. And, you know, there it is, looks like people are playing, but obviously not.
It's just you.
Yeah, it's just me out in my front yard.
Oh
My
God,
neighbors
that's
judging
so
me.
lonely.
Look, I have friends, I promise. Don't worry.
I promise.
Somebody's ceiling project, so this was just another friend of mine. So we had to do all the math for all the different angular cuts. Well, I'm not like trying to make this sound however it's going to sound, but like I'm better at this than they are, so they pay me. Right? Like
You said, I don't like to brag.
I'm just saying facts. I'm pretty good at math.
Are you sure about that?
Look, no brag, just fact. I'm pretty good at math, and a lot of woodworking is math.
I never knew.
I would hope you were good with math.
So there you go. There's a ceiling, looks a lot nicer than it used to.
Thou shalt not.
No, they're good at big.
Here you go. Some fun measurement precision stuff here. So when you have to cut out around floor vents, like the vents that come up through your floor to blow the air conditioning or the heat, or when you have to cut around doorways, which actually this is a bad idea, especially since I'm recording. Let me go on record saying the only reason I did this is my wife made me. What you should do here is put a transition strip, because like your house moves. You don't realize this, but your house slightly moves. Over time, this might cause an issue, but my wife wanted it that way, so I did it that way.
So they're
It looks nicer, but over time it might cause issues. So, like, am I just going to go to Home Depot and buy a random amount of flooring? No, I do the math and plan it out. And guys, this might just look like nonsense. Nah, it's math. So that's what I'm trying to, then look at all the fractions. That tape was telling me exactly where to cut.
I would just ask Google.
Boom!
Google, how do I?
Yeah, you can't ask Google how to floor your house. It doesn't know your house.
I don't like how
Guys, look at all the fractions. Come on.
I don't like fractions.
Guess what? They don't care.
Wait, where's
Aw, Timber. There's Timber.
It's so cute. You named your dog after what?
I did this bathroom too.
Wait, do you have like a bunch of pictures of your dogs?
Yeah, we'll do that someday. We'll do pictures of dogs someday. That's Sebastian.
Can you bring your
My dogs are always in the way of my projects.
Can you bring your dogs in?
Yeah, please.
There must be some math on here for some reason. Up to 12 months. There you go. It's an inequality. Up to 12 months. That doesn't actually mean 12 months. Look at how complicated this cut was. I had to make like an angle cut, then a U cut. Apparently that's the end of the pictures. All right, do your homework. You got 10 minutes left. I know.